Hello dear student, welcome back to this YouTube channel, and in this video we are just going to talk about the barriers of the communication and the way how to overcome the barrier of the communication. So starting from the scratch, so as we all know that communication is the process of exchange information between two or more people. It is essential for person or professional success. Actually, communication is just used to increase our output in any work or in any field that we can in the field of IT, in a field of business, in a field of professionalism. You can say that the communication is the key to success. So, however, there are many things that can interfere with the effectiveness of the communication. These are known as the communication barrier. Actually, there are so many things that can affect your the way of communication or the output of the communication. Actually, communication is too much important only if output is higher. Like if you are talking to anyone and the response is you are not getting that much response, that is responsible, but you can consider it as a waste of the communication. So there are so many things that can affect the communication. We will study further, and we will also study about how to overcome all these things. So type of the communication barrier. So first barrier is linguistic barrier. I don't think it is required to explain, because suppose you are a person and you are going in another country, and the language is the most barrier in the communication. Like the person is you are meeting is knowing the another language like French, Japanese or English, and you are from India and you don't know English or Japanese or French. So that can be considered as a barrier. Just because you are not able to explain your feeling, you are not able to explain your goals, you are not able to explain your thinking to the person in front of you. So this kind of barrier is commonly seen in our society. So next barrier is physical barrier. These barriers are caused by physical factors that prevent people from communicating effectively. They can include noise, distance, and physical disability. There are so many things, physical thing that can also be a barrier in communication. Like you are in a traffic, you are you are outside your home, and there are so much noise around you. So that can be also considered as a physical barrier. So moving next, psychological barrier. These barriers are caused by the people's thought and feeling. They can include anxiety, stress, and prejudice. Actually, every person has their own perspective, and every person has their own emotional trauma. So suppose if a person is passing through the depression, or if a person have something bad experiences in a life regarding something, so that can be considered as a barrier. Suppose a person have got been cheated by his friend. So for the next time he will not trust his friend as much as he was doing before. So that can be considered as a barrier. Like he don't want to come with their friend, he don't want to talk with their friend, just because the past experiences or their psychology that has been made by the society in his past. So moving next, cultural barrier. Cultural barrier is also one of the important barrier. Like you have also seen like people of north and south are fighting sometimes just because of the cultural barrier. These barriers are caused by the difference in culture. They can include difference in values, beliefs, and communication style. Suppose there is a two religion, religion A and religion B, but there is a difference in their religion, their values or the things that they follow, and sometimes we have also seen the conflict in A and B. Let's suppose you can understand what I am trying to point out. So next barrier is organizational barrier. These barriers are caused by the structure and the culture of organization. They can include bureaucracy, lack of resources, and poor communication channels. So actually let us consider a company A which is going to earn a more revenue than company B. There is a competition between A and B. So the effectiveness of the communication can also be decreased by their growth and their all these things like competition. So there may be a, suppose there is also a company where there are lots of department, but the interdepartmental communication is low just because of lack of resources and the lack of information channel between them. So we can also consider it as an organizational barrier. So moving next, method to overcome the communication barrier. So what are the method? How can we overcome the communication barrier and increase the output of the communication? So be clear and concise in your communication. So first of all, if you are starting a communication, always be clear and concise. Like what do you want, what do you want as a result of the communication. So be clear at the first. Use language that your audience can understand. Suppose you are just attending a meeting in a England, you can't speak in Hindi. You should be the use the favorable language that your audience can understand. Be aware of your body language and tone of your voice. Always keep body language is too much important in a communication. Like 80% of the impression of the communication is given by the body language and the tone of the voice, how you speak, how you pronounce the word, how your phonetics works in a communication. This is too much important in any effective communication. Be an active listener. Why this is the point to overcome the communication barrier. Suppose if a person is speaking something and you want more output of the communication, first listen what he is trying to tell. First understand the mentality of the person that is trying to explain you. Now after that, after listening his words, you can just interpret and you can just make your own plan how to talk with that person, how to communicate with that person effectively. Be respectful of cultural differences. This can be useful for the to reduce the cultural barrier. Like there is a community, so always be respectful for all the culture, as like every culture is good and every culture has their own merits and demerits. So try to find out the merits of the culture and you can cope with that. Use appropriate communication channel. Use appropriate communication channel. If a person in front of you, use the digital type of communication. I have also explained the type of communication and what are the channels and mediums of the communication. We can watch my videos on my YouTube channel. So moving next, method to overcome communication barrier, like linguistic barrier, how it can be overcome. If you are communicating with someone who speak a different language, try to find out a translator or use a translation app. You can also try to learn some basic phrases in the other person language. So this can be used to overcome the linguistic barrier. The next is physical barrier. If you are communicating with someone who is far away, try to use video conferencing or phone call. If you are in a noisy environment, try to find out quieter place to talk. If you have a physical disabilities, make sure to use assertive technology. So this physical barrier can be reduced by using the technology. So moving next, cultural barrier. If you are communicating with someone with a different culture, try to learn about the culture and communication style. Be respectful of their differences and avoid making assumptions. Like sometimes in cultural barrier, people make assumption in their mind about something wrong with that community, and that can result in a decrease in the effectiveness of the communication. So first of all, decrease the assumption and always means be respectful to all the communities. So next is organizational barrier. If you are communicating within an organization, make sure to follow the organization communication policy and procedure. If you are having trouble communicating with someone, try to talk to with manager or HR department. Actually there are lots of department in a organization, your hierarchy and all these things. So first of all, if you are just want effectiveness of the communication or the channel, so first of all talk to the higher authorities. So they can solve your problem. First go to your seniors, and if that can't be effective, just go to the higher authorities. So conclusion, what is the conclusion of this video? Communication barrier are common problem, but there are many ways to overcome them. Actually, if there is a problem, there is a solution. So if there is a barrier, there is a ways to overcome it. By being aware of the different type of communication barrier and using the appropriate strategy, you can improve your communication skill and build a stronger relationship. So this is the conclusion of the video, that you can overcome the communication and all these things. So hope you have understand all these things, and hope I am able to explain you the better. So see your feedback in a comment section, and see you in the next video. Till then, take care and bye bye.